Certainly not your child. What do you do when your child steals? I've got 5 specific tips. Let's start with principle. Principles are natural laws that govern everything. It's the moral foundation behind why we do what we do. If your child is stealing, what moral principle does that violate? Well, there's a couple of them actually, but let's start with honesty. We focus on honesty and we teach that as a principle and part of our family culture. In other videos, including one where we talk about teaching children responsibility, you can link to that video right up here. Just watch it after you've finished watching this one, and it will clarify the 3 stages of moral development. Sometimes stealing is more of a maturity thing than it is a morality thing, meaning that your child hasn't yet matured to a stage where they really get the difference between right and wrong. But this is an opportunity for them to learn it. Let's embrace anything that happens, including our child stealing. Let's embrace that as an opportunity to teach them the correct principles that they need to know as they move forward with the rest of their life. Tip number 2 comes back to our family rules. I believe that sometimes we overdo it with the rules. And have you noticed that sometimes you'll come up with this list of comprehensive rules, all the do's and the do-nots, and you got this big old list. And your kids have this uncanny ability to find something that's not on the list. And then they throw it in your face. It's like, well, that wasn't on the list. I like to simplify our family rules down to 3. They all start with respect. Respect yourself and others. That's rule number 1. Respect property. That's rule number 2. Respect authority. That's rule number 3, which means that you cooperate and obey. Those 3 rules cover everything that I've ever been concerned about as a parent. I can find a way to fit them into those 3 rules. Rule number 2 is all about respect property. And that's why stealing is a problem. It violates one of our family rules. And the family rules are founded in the principles of honesty and integrity. So the family rule is respect property. That means you do not take something that doesn't belong to you. We're going to use opportunities to teach these principles to our children so that when the stealing happens, and maybe it's a when and not an if, when the stealing happens, we'll have a foundation that we can use to move forward and actually turn it into a learning experience. We'll transition next into the justice system. When your child steals, call the police and no, I'm kidding you. Sometimes that may be appropriate, okay? But we want to have an appropriate level of justice that happens even for our young children. And then hopefully we won't have to worry about it so much when they're later in life, when they become teenagers or young adults. So in the justice system that we establish in the family, there will be restitution that is owed anytime someone steals something or takes something that doesn't belong to them. What does this mean? One of our neighbors had her little 5-year-old in the store. This 5-year-old reached out and took a candy bar from the store. Not only did he take it, he opened it and he started eating it. And so it's not easy to return something that's already been opened and touched by the toddler, right? So she took her 5-year-old back to the store and had him apologize to the store owner and pay him. Now, he didn't have a lot of money, but mom lent him enough to pay for it, and then he gets to work it off with mom. I think a good general rule on restitution is that they should replace whatever it is that they took, plus a little bit of value on top of that. If you can't return it, you have to replace it. And even if you return it, return a little additional value on top of that. This helps to teach children the cost of making a moral judgment error. Sometimes it feels like, oh, I'm getting something for nothing. They need to understand that the stealing actually costs them. It doesn't give them anything. So the restitution is going to add a little bit of interest on top of it. The consequences for stealing can be very natural and logical. I just gave you an example with taking a child back to the store where they get to apologize to the merchant and they get to replace or return what it is that they took plus interest. You can add other consequences, and they don't have to be natural and logical. You can totally make it up if you want to. I don't want your hands to be tied as a parent. I want you to have the freedom to do whatever is necessary to help your child with this learning experience that they're having. So they might get some extra chores. They might get to write an essay about honesty. There might be other ways that you think of as a parent that helps them to learn from their experiences, and appropriate consequences are one of the best ways that they can learn this lesson now and not have this behavior pattern continue into their later years. The other thing that good consequences will do is teach your children the concept of hard, easy versus easy, hard. Hard, easy, and easy, hard are things that you've probably already noticed as an adult. If you do the hard thing now, you can create an easier outcome. If you do the easy thing now, you're probably going to get a hard outcome. The easy thing is just to steal the thing that you want, but that creates a harder outcome for you. The harder thing would be to save your money and earn and purchase appropriately whatever it is that you want. That's hard, but it creates an easier existence for you after that. Teach this principle of hard, easy, easy, hard. When this happens, and you'll notice I didn't say if, I said when again. I know, just does that bother you? Probably it's going to happen. When it happens, don't freak out. Okay, stay calm as a parent, because this is an opportunity for your child to learn something, and it's happening at the lowest cost possible. For your child to steal something right now is less expensive to that child than if they steal it 2 years from now. As we grow and get older, the cost increases. So we want them to learn it when? Well, earlier's not an option anymore. Tomorrow's more expensive, now's good. So chill. And when it happens, just take a deep breath, okay? In through the nose, hold just a little, out through the mouth, nice and slow. Get centered. Pull your brain back out of fight or flight mode so that you can see this as a valuable learning opportunity for your child. You stay calm, and then you process this with them in a way that allows for them to solidify the learning and to take that forward with them into the rest of their childhood and their adulthood, and their entire life will be blessed because you were able to use this as a learning experience. If this becomes a chronic pattern, you may be dealing with something different from experimentation. Oppositional defiant disorder is something you might want to learn a little more about. There's a link to the video right here, how to deal with a child with ODD. And there's a lot of other videos right there in the Positive Parenting playlist. Spend some time there. You've got this, and we've got your back as a positive parent.
Down, face locked onto the phone. And I wished